Hello,
Hi,
hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening,
good
wherever you
day.
are, what time zone you are. We've just had daylight saving times, Megan, and I don't know what time of day it is.
I barely know where I am.
How are you doing, Megan? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm awake. I'm here. It is, I believe, midday. I'm good. Been busy-ish. How about you? I heard you had a chest
I,
infection.
yeah, I have not been busy. I have not been busy, and I have been extremely busy. So, the first part of October for me was an absolute write-off because I was out with a chest infection. Apologies to the listeners who might hear me cough because I am still coughing my head off.
You sound
Yeah, just about. I'm filling myself with fisherman's friend, as we call them, very, very strong throat lozenges that I don't think actually do anything for me because this is not a one of those type of coughs. It's a whole different kettle of fish cough.
just have to insert those into your lungs.
Yes, indeed. But then the second half of October was obviously return back to work, which meant catching up on all of the stuff that I've missed out during chest infection, which was fun. Then, thankfully, in the UK, we have something called half term, which meant
Yes.
everyone was on holiday, so time to catch up there. So we had a 2-week half term in my schools, and then the second week of half term, I was actually off on annual leave, and I was busy with several conferences. So if you follow me on social media, you'll have seen I had 3 conferences last week. So I had Canva Connect, and we're going to talk about Canva and all of the latest Droptober updates. And then I had the EduGeek Edit conference in the middle of the week, which is a IT professionals conference. And then I had a trip to the National Museum of Computing with the ANME, which is the Association of Network Managers in Education. So it was a really interesting week. So I've
Yeah,
been absolutely not busy and absolutely totally busy.
you have done both sides of the spectrum. You have been,
Indeed.
yes, moving around and also not.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah, I have also been conferencing it up a little bit over here. One big one for me, I got to go to Kelowna in the middle of the mountains. It was nice. I got to go alone, which is really exciting because the 2 small humans who wake up in the middle of the night here stayed home. So I got to go all by myself. So I went to Innovate Ed in Kelowna, which is an education technology conference for Okanagan teachers over here in Canada. It's kind of like wine country, touristy spot during the summer, but I was not there for any of that because it was October. So it was very much fall time, but that's okay. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Got to run 3 sessions, do a little bit of microbit, a little bit of Canva, a little bit of quizzes, all my favorite things. It was fun.
All the fun game, all of the fun and games, all of the
You
fun
bet.
games. A few shout outs, Megan. We have to shout out AMS 24, the Google Certified Innovator Academy, is back
Woo.
for another academy, and Amsterdam kicking off. So good luck to all of the innovators going to Amsterdam. You are going to have
Oh,
an amazing time, and soak it all up. I need to find the I will retweet my I will retweet my top tip advice for innovators at some point. Because Megan, you and I, can you believe it was 5 years ago we
I
did
know,
Innovator?
right?
So
The best 3 days ever. It was just, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. I'm so excited for them and incredibly jealous at the same time. Do you think they'd notice if we snuck in? Probably not.
I mean, probably not. I don't have a problem sneaking in. I have a problem actually flying over. That's probably the
Yeah,
bigger challenge.
tricky.
And then also shout out to the UK Champions Energizer, which kicks off the week after Amsterdam, and I will be going to that because that is
Nice.
in London.
Oh, fun.
So really looking forward to that. Getting back together with some champions and fun times. So
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for them and for you.
yeah, indeed.
Good stuff.
What else is new?
What else is new? Well, this is not new actually, but because I'm the STEM human who can't not STEM. And my Instagram feed is full of updates from interesting engineering. I came across a really, really cool thing. So there's this company called Spin Launch. Now, this is actually old news a little bit, but the updates are hopefully coming soon. So this came up on my feed. I'm going to put it into the notes because I was just like, I was so excited. Like I know I messaged you. I messaged basically everybody I knew and was like, you need to check this out. So Spin Launch basically created a scale prototype. Okay. So it's like 45 meters in diameter, this huge accelerator that spins around. So it spins around. And then the whole point is that it's meant to launch things into low orbit. So environmentally, pretty cool because we're not using a ton of fuel. So we are spinning things around. And then the math involved was just kind of blowing me away because not only is it spinning so fast, it's got to launch something into orbit, but then it has to stop and let it go out of this tiny little tube. You guys, you must go to the show notes, check out this video, and be blown away. So this happened in 2021, where they started actually doing these launches. It was successful. So they launched like I believe it was a 3-meter test vehicle, which can be reused. They got up to 30,000 feet. So we're talking like airplane travel height. So pretty fun. But I was just thinking like in my own class, in my science class, because we do space science is one of the units that hits kind of over and over again. How much fun would it be to get a servo and have them rebuild this like on a teeny small scale and just have them spin stuff around and try and figure out how to launch it? Fun could be had. Anything with projectiles in a science classroom, I feel like is a pretty safe bet. Yes, 30,000 feet, right? I know. Thank you, Mel.
Can you imagine a science project like, yeah. Oh, by the way, I've just launched my thing, 30,000 feet.
Yeah, it'd be like, let's build these. Let's take them outside. Highest wins. So fun. Like we could drop parachutes from the roof, or we could launch some stuff into the air.
Do we need a like Civil Aviation Authority disclaimer here, like science projects? Oh, by the way, passing by plane, we've got some.
I think we need to. I think we need to trial it first. See what we're working with. You know, are we working with 6 feet? Is it hitting the wall? We might just want to let like the teachers in our area know that there will be projectiles flying around. I don't recommend trying this inside. It's maybe an outside game. But I feel like there are some cool opportunities to spark some interest in some small humans if you show them this spin launch video and say, maybe you could be somebody who just chucks a satellite into the air. So basically the update is that in February 2024, they were building, so it worked, okay? Like they did it to 30,000 feet. Now they're building their large scale model, but they're trying to find somewhere to put it, okay? I'm thinking middle of the desert. And then B, I mean, it's obviously going to take a long time. So I haven't found any updates since February 2024. It's been quiet, but Spin Launch, I hope you're still working on it because I'm excited.
The prankster in me can't stop thinking about water balloons. That would be...
There are a lot of things one could do with
so much fun and so mischievous at the same time.
Okay, this is a total sidebar. Have you seen the movie Toy Story?
Yes.
Okay, so you know Sid?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if he had one of these?
That I feel like that would be a very different movie.
Different movie. But also great for Buzz.
Quite literally to infinity and beyond.
Quite literally to infinity and beyond. And with that, we close. That's what's new in STEM over here.
For those of you who thought STEM was boring,
guess what? It's not. It's not.
100%. Absolutely not. So your teachers have been feeling some mourning the loss of particular tools, Megan.
Particular tools. Which tools are you talking about?
A certain former Microsoft tool.
Yes. I have been
Yeah,
getting messages about this. So Microsoft Flip is done, right? The end of an era.
absolutely.
We'll miss you. So I got a message saying Microsoft Flip is done. What do I do? Okay. So that was really interesting, actually, because I know when I was in the classroom, we used Flip an awful lot, starting a bit before COVID and then really a lot during COVID. So same thing with like even like student conferences where they show off their learning and stuff. So one thing, because I know we're going to be talking about Canva and I know we're going to be talking about Droptober, but one of my Canva sessions in Kelowna was all about sharing student voice using the AI image generator, because we know that Canva's Magic Studio can be used with K to 12. But also the audio aspects of this are awesome. So, where we might have students on Flip sharing their work, right? You can flip the camera around, it can show you, you can add your pictures and things like that. Why not have students create their things in Canva? I feel like students are getting more proficient in Canva, like the more they use it, right? It feels like we're using it more. But then on that side, on uploads, where the elements and everything are, it just says record yourself. And they get that nice little balloon, that nice little circle right in the bottom. I love it. And it's so clean and it records so well and so crisp. And then they can just download or share to Google Classroom or whatever. I feel like it might actually be easier. So that's what I told. That was the advice that I gave. I said, just have your students create everything in Canva and have them record themselves right in there, because it's so much easier when students can just use one tool, right? Yeah.
And I think, there are plenty of screen recording tools out there.
Yeah.
But they all have there's lots of quirks around accounts and time limits and premium plans and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we keep coming back to this with Canva, but it is 100% free for education. And it's Canva, Canva started out as a graphic design tool. It has evolved into so much more since then. And being able to, the fact that you can do presentation and docs and all of that stuff in there, being able to do all of that under one platform, one single platform, without having to mess around with extensions and go to different sites, different platforms, different logins, all of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
They're so onto a winner. It's unreal. And I guess we should say, for those schools that are still using Microsoft 365, a version of Flip is still available within Microsoft Teams. I'm not from a Microsoft 365 school, so I haven't, for me, effectively, we lost that as a resource. But yeah, I think Canva is definitely one that is out there. And I think that segues nicely onto Droptober.
Take it away.
So Canva had their Droptober. Well, they didn't have an event like they did with Canva Create, but they launched a whole load of brand new features during Droptober, towards the end of October, where they brought in a whole load of new tools. And yeah, some amazing things that are coming. One that is coming soon that I am really, really looking forward to, it's not out yet, just yet, is captions in videos. I cannot wait to be able to do that. They have brought in some great new collaborative things with Canva whiteboards, so you can now do reactions. You can sort by reaction, so you can have all of your sticky notes on there, and then you're able to you're then able to get people to react to all of the different ideas, and then you can use magic sort to then sort by all of the different reactions. That is amazing.
Yeah.
They have so Canva recently bought an AI company called Leonardo AI, and they've now released a tool within Canva called Dreamlab, and it allows they already had a decent image generator, but this one just takes it to a whole new level. which is amazing. And they have supercharged Magic Write, so you can do some great new things with Magic Write. And I'm loving it. And there are some great new features still to come with Canva. So
Yeah.
really looking forward to some of those new features. But it is absolutely great to get that get those new drops, and can't wait to see the more amazing things that are coming to Canva soon.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking about, especially with the whiteboard updates and the reactions and the sorting capabilities. Do you remember in Innovator when we did our little feature thing, and then we did the heat mapping, right? So for those of you who don't know, like one of the design thinking strategies that we did was we were creating a product which would eventually turn into a prototype or a service, I guess. And so we kind of did a little drawing and description of some 3 features, and then we put them up gallery walk style. And then when you were walking around, if there was something that you really thought was a good idea, then you would put a little sticker there. And it's called heat mapping. And it was really cool because the more stickers that were there, it was sort of a visual representation of something that a lot of people connected with. So how cool and easily accessible would that be in the classroom with whiteboard? Right? They're all sharing their ideas. You can have all of your reactions. And then not only that, you can sort them after to just make it so much easier to kind of figure out the next steps for your whatever it is that you're creating.
And you know, it's come at the perfect time with Google sunsetting Jamboard.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's the perfect time to switch over into whiteboard. And then you know, with the magic switch features, you can change it into presentations and docs and summarize these things. The power behind it is immense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think they're really back onto a winner with that. So there are so many cool things happening. And with that, there are a whole load of community labs happening all around the world. So there are. So I went to Canva Connect last week, where we did a whole load of celebration around Droptober, and we talked a bit about Affinity. So Canva recently purchased Affinity, and that brings the Affinity set of design tools into Canva, and you can use those again. And Canva have made all of those tools for free. So real professional graphic design tools around photo editing and vector design, and also desktop publishing.
Yeah.
So great to see that. And absolutely check out the show notes. There are some great community lab dates happening around the world. And if you can't make any of them around the world, then there is one coming up online on the 11th of November, which I have signed up for. Really looking forward to that. And that's all things Canva, and just really excited.
I feel like we could talk about it forever.
Yeah, probably a whole episode just on Canva.
Honestly. Poke Canva.
Yeah, indeed. Always open to sponsorship. Right. What else is
exciting things to talk about with Apple?
Apple, yes, of course. They launched a whole load of brand new products.
Yes, but I must interrupt you, because before we talk about that, we must talk about how the quality of my webcam has increased. So
why would that be? Why would that be? No?
Because we are looking at each other from my brand new MacBook. Welcome
to the world of Apple.
I switched. Yeah. I still have a Pixel because it works, but
we'll fix that soon. Don't worry.
We'll get there. But the MacBook is nice. The MacBook is great.
Yes, and on the subject of MacBooks, so they released 3 new products. So they released an updated iMac with the new M4 chip.
Yep.
They released a brand new Mac Mini, which is so cool. I want that Mac Mini because it's amazing. They already took they took the already impressive Mac Mini and shrunk it down.
Yep.
So it's now a 5 by 5 inch device, a box that is about 2 inches in tall, and it packs punch. And when I say it packs punch, it blows the socks off most computers at that price point. It starts off at $599 in the US, £599. If you work in education, you can get an immediate 10%. It was a £100 $100 discount.
Yep.
So you can get $499, right? And for the new M4 chip with 16 gig of RAM, it is a fascinating device, and I want one on my desk just because it's so amazing. Yes, that is really, really cool.
I feel like it's only a matter of time. And that, oh yes, the Apple Education discount is only available in certain countries. That is true. So sorry about that.
We will find a way, Luis. Someday. We'll find a way. Yes.
We'll buy it, we will ship it to you, we will something.
But of course, with everything Apple, there's always controversy, right?
Yes.
And as impressive as the Mac Mini was, the internet did decide to break a bit with the new design of the Mac Mini. So we've said how wonderful the new design of the Mac Mini is, but the internet decided to pick up on a particular design point, which was where Apple decided to place the power button.
Yes.
So Megan, where do you think they decided to place the power button?
Well, intuitively, I would guess that one would want the button at the top of the Mac Mini so that one can turn it on. However, as a lazy person, do I ever turn off my computer? No, I do not.
And that's a fairly good point. So with the old Mac Mini, the power button was on the back of the device, on the side, right? So towards the side, on the back of the device. Apple have decided to put the power button for the new Mac Mini on the bottom of the device.
What?
Which is an interesting design placement.
How actually dare they?
But it's like you say, not very many people actually ever shut down their device. Like I'm currently streaming from a custom built Windows PC, and my PC is way in the corner over there, and I cannot reach the power button with my arm extended out.
Yeah.
But I never turn the PC on. I'd never turn the PC off, and I never turn it on. It goes to sleep, and I wake it up by moving my mouse. Or I can ask the Amazon device over there. I won't say its name because I don't want it to activate.
Everybody's everything.
The female Amazon device, I could ask her to switch on my PC. I've actually got an activity. I forgot what they call the. I think it's an activity or an action or something like that.
Essentially,
literally all it does is it just turns my PC on. So I can say the name of said device, turn on my PC, and it turns the PC on. So I never actually press the power button unless we've had a power cut or something like that. And even then, I think that thing turns it on. So
And also, like, I mean, Apple is known for their like very sleek design, right? So I'm not surprised that they stuck it on the bottom so that the top is just like a very smooth, right? Because otherwise you've got the power icon there. So I'm not surprised that they put it on the back before, and I'm not surprised that they stuck it on the bottom. Because
I mean, if you see the design of the old Mac Mini, the back of the device was actually a plastic, and when you disassembled the device, you actually slid the plastic part of the insides out of the metal outer shell.
Okay.
The way they've designed the new Mac Mini is the whole thing through the top is aluminium design.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And so the plastic bit with the fan grill is actually at the bottom. So if anything, it would break the design aesthetic almost, and we all know how much Apple are all about their design.
That's what they're
So,
about.
and to be honest, right? Again, with all of this stuff, and it's not the end of the world to
It's
just,
not.
I mean, you're not pressing a power button for like 30 seconds or for a
Right.
minute or something like that. You're pressing it to switch it on every now and then. It's not the end of the world,
And
right?
also, are you stacking anything on top of it? Like, it's very easy to just reach underneath and turn it off. It's not like you have anything else on top of it that will make that difficult in
No.
any way, shape, or form.
Look, at £500, right? It
Mhm.
is an
It's awesome.
amazing device to get into the Apple ecosystem if the cost has been prohibitive beforehand. So it's a great way to get in. And one of the advantages as well on the STEM EdTech side of things is Swift Playgrounds, right? It's
Yeah.
a great way to be able to get into Swift coding and that kind of stuff with it. But
You bet.
yes, still an amazing design.
Mhm.
And then finally onto the MacBook Pros. So they updated the MacBook Pros to the new M4 chips and also the very powerful M4 Pro chips and the M4 Max chips, which completely obliterate everything else on the market. They are pricey though, but they I would say M4 at the M4 chip, the baseline M4 chip is probably a valid choice for pretty much everyone, right? M4 Pro and especially M4 Max is only if you're doing crazy broadcast level streaming, or if you are the people behind ChatGPT actually coding ChatGPT, right, and running the AI stuff on your device. That's the kind of thing that is for. But Mel's just put in the chat, hers is an M2.
Yeah.
The M1, M2, and M3 chips are still more than capable. So Apple have just released Apple Intelligence. So if you're based in Northern America and you're running your Apple device with an M1 chip or above in US English, you can actually use Apple Intelligence now.
Yeah.
On any device any device running an M1 chip or above, or an iPhone 15 Pro and above, or an iPad Air 5th gen and above. So you can get all of the Apple Intelligence stuff, and that's showing how capable the Apple silicon chips are. And it's really forced Intel and AMD to step up the game to a point where they've actually lost a lot of traction in the CPU market to the likes of Apple with Apple Silicon and also Snapdragon. So Snapdragon are the chips that you find mainly in Android phones. And Microsoft have actually teamed up with Snapdragon to release new Microsoft devices that and they've certified those as Copilot Plus PCs.
Right.
Which runs obviously Microsoft's version of their AI, which is Copilot. So I think the mobile device market set of CPU chips are really changing the game for desktop class platforms. And we could be at a breaking point with the likes of Intel and AMD kind of losing that traction. And who knows, your move Intel and your move AMD, what can you come up with next to find that, to get that market leader position again? Because it's not like Apple are some tiny little company who've come out of nowhere. They're one of the most powerful companies in the world.
Absolutely.
And they've certainly proved it with their Apple chips. But on that subject, we have to talk about the most exciting Apple product there is in the market.
I cannot wait to get my hands on this.
Yes.
Thank goodness they updated its compatibility, because I wasn't sure if it was compatible with my device.
So I can't remember how much it cost. I am just looking on the Apple website now. So we are talking about a very, I wouldn't say niche product, would we? It's probably a very popular product. Maybe people don't buy the Apple variety of it, but it comes in at a very reasonable £19, which is very reasonable for any Apple Apple device of sorts.
Yes.
And we are talking about this deserves a drum roll of some sort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There it was. That was good.
Apple polishing cloth.
We're so excited.
The Apple polishing cloth, which comes in at £19. And we have great news. It is now compatible with the latest MacBook Pros and the latest iPhone 16 and the latest Mac Mini.
Run, don't walk, everybody.
You can now polish all of your latest devices with
Yes.
the Apple released an over-the-air update for their polishing cloth.
Yes. If you go onto the Apple Store site and you search for the polishing cloth, you can now, we only answer, we don't have an answer for that question. But yeah.
So Mel has asked, how can a cloth be incompatible? Well, believe it or not, check out the Apple website, the polishing cloth. There is a compatibility list, and that compatibility list is very, very impressive. It is. It has been updated. It supports the iPhone 16 Pro, and it goes all the way back to the iPhone 5. You can polish your iPhone 5 with the new Apple polishing cloth. Now, I'm disappointed. That I can't polish my iPhone 4.
I know.
Because it's not on compatibility list.
Well, yeah, and I searched the compatibility list as well, and I have a Pixel 7, and I didn't see it on there. So unfortunately, I cannot polish my Pixel 7, and I must get a new iPhone.
Indeed. Perfect reason for why you need to get an iPhone.
Yep.
So you can polish the
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, what has the world come to?
So probably later today.
So that is all of the Apple updates, as far as I'm aware. Indeed. What's happening in the world of AI, Megan?
I don't know for sure.
OpenAI have decided to tread on some big tech toes, specifically Google and the other one, Bing, if you want to have it that way.
What's that?
And they have released a search engine built into ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Which I haven't put enough effort into using the search engine so far. I use ChatGPT quite a lot for work and things like that. And I usually find with most things I ask, it's always searching the web anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, but it's definitely an interesting move. And
it is, I think it's an interesting move because, like, I mean, you mentioned Google and then you mentioned Bing, and then everybody kind of giggled, okay? Because, you know, it's Google, right? We use Google, and it's not anything like, not bashing anything, but it's just we've used Google forever. And now all of a sudden, there's something else that could disrupt that, like could actually disrupt that. So that is interesting. And when has that happened?
And Tom Mulaney in the chat raises a really good point about LLMs are not search engines, right? And are OpenAI ready for the search engine market? Like they're doing okay, fine, whatever you think of OpenAI and the way they use data and all of that in AI in general, they're kind of rolling with it with AI, and you know, of all of them, they're probably the most well known and one of the most successful. But is searching the web their game, and sort of what direction is that taking? Is that you know, taking the company in? And you know, there's always been this thing with search engines prior to the popularization of large language models around privacy and tracking and what the search engines know about you, and you know, all of the privacy stuff with AI, and it's kind of just bringing more of that in. I've been seeing so many tools popping up on the App Store, not that well known, but AI tools that are all suddenly on offer, where we're giving you away a lifetime free subscription completely for free. And it's a full AI tool, and it's like, well, if you're giving away the lifetime subscription for free, what am I really paying with?
Yeah.
And it's that conversation around data again. And cash is king, but so is data.
Yeah, like
And
at what cost?
yeah, and again, that gives us a really nice segue into what's happening in the world of cybersecurity. And not so great news. Casio, the big Japanese tech giant who do watches and calculators and all sorts, suffered a ransomware attack last month.
Ooh.
And they have said that there has been a significant amount of customer data that has been breached.
Yikes.
They're still investigating what's going on, but I'm sure at some point in our lives we have all come across or owned some form of Casio device, whether it's a calculator or something like that. And if you've registered you always get, whenever you buy an electronic product, you always get the register your warranty. And so you go on the website, register the warranty. Suddenly that data is now at risk. And so I actually just got an email today from the data protection officer at Casio as one of their customers who has registered his warranty for a calculator, ironically. And they have said they have released a whole load of information around just being extra vigilant about activity on your accounts, making sure, and it all brings back the things that we need to consider when it comes to cybersecurity around using passwords, making sure you're using unique passwords on every single site, because in this case they haven't confirmed that user credentials have been compromised, but names, addresses, and email addresses have been compromised, which is, with email addresses, you're sort of halfway there, you're 50% there, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's the email addresses, definitely.
And then if you're using the same password on multiple sites, then suddenly, they can look at one of the previous hacks that another company has had, and they can put the two and two together. So I think it's all about, reiterating, having that extra vigilance around at your online activities, making sure that you are using multi-factor authentication on all of the sites that support it, making sure you're using unique passwords, use password managers. If you have a Apple phone, you've got the passwords app. If you've got a Google phone, you've got Google Password Manager.
Yeah.
They're built into the browsers now, or use a paid for one like 1Password. There are loads of password managers out there that can help you to have secure passwords.
I have a question for you. Just thinking about this. So how you just said that full names, addresses, email addresses. Okay. So if somebody has access, because I don't know the answer to this. If somebody has access to your email account, then how so often when you're signing into a website, it says sign in with Google. Does that then, how does that impact cybersecurity wise, their access to your information on all of the sites that you have signed in with Google?
So the sign in with Google is a form of SSO, single sign-on.
Okay. And
effectively, the sign in with Google makes, or you've got the sign in with Apple, and you've got signed in with Microsoft. That's effectively a more protective layer, in the sense that you have one user account, which is your Google account or your Microsoft account or your Apple account, and you keep that as secure as possible with a really secure password, multi-factor authentication. And so therefore, when you log on to the other third-party site, you're not creating an account on their site. So if they were to have a data breach,
right,
there wouldn't be an account effectively, not necessarily, but there wouldn't be credentials to breach, if you see what I mean. Because the way single sign-on works is the website behind us, all of the code behind the scenes will basically do kind of like a handshake with Google to say, is this Abid Patel who's trying to log in with his Google account? Yes, it is. There's no sort of exchange of passwords, if you see what I mean. It's kind of an authentication handshake.
Yeah.
Which then allows you into that website using your Google credentials. but the credentials never sort of passed along.
Right. Okay.
But it's a form of authentication that isn't requiring you to create a password on the other site. More and more organizations are moving towards SSO, single sign-on.
Yeah.
Because for that very reason, you just need the one account which you use. If you're working in school, whether it's a Google Workspace school, you've got your Google Workspace account. If you're a Microsoft school, then your Microsoft account. And so therefore you don't need to then pass those credentials over to all of those third parties. So good third party platforms are embedding more and more single sign-on, which allows you to log in with the secure credentials that you have. And all of the two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, all of that stuff, which is on the Google end or the Microsoft end, which just adds that extra layer of protection.
Okay.
So where possible, I would always suggest using single sign-on.
Yeah.
Where possible.
Well, and even just practically, it is like for someone like me who forgets their passwords on an hourly basis, it is so much easier.
Exactly. And so in the case of when XYZ third party does suffer a breach, suddenly you don't, that's one less thing for you to worry about in terms of those credentials being compromised, because you don't have credentials on that website because you're using Google's credentials.
Yeah.
If your Google account was to get compromised, then so long as you haven't lost access to it, you can change that password and change the two-factor authentication and all of that. And suddenly all of your accounts are secure again.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And that's why it's so important to have really secure passwords on that one. That's where the tool the name 1Password came from. It's like all we want you to do is remember one password, not 50 million passwords for all of the other sites that you signed it up for. Just remembering that one password, keep that secure. And so the I can't remember his name, but the chap who invented the guidance about changing your password every 90 days actually changed his guidance to don't change your password every 90 days. Because what was happening was everyone was choosing a password. Let's go with, I don't know, Casio in this case. And then in 90 days, it becomes Casio 1.
Yeah.
90 days after that, Casio 2. 90 days after that, Casio 3, and so on and so forth, right? To the point where, or password 1, like Louisa said in the chat. And
1Password 2.
Yeah.
How come you guys get my passwords?
And so he actually changed his guidance to don't change your password every 90 days. Have one secure password.
Really good password.
That you don't have to change and is harder to compromise. And there is a website, we'll share it on the show notes. There's a website that actually allows you to test how secure your password is and how long it would take a website, how long it would take a computer or a bot to hack your password. And you can type some really crazy things and it will come out with like 53 trillion years or something. So I think that's pretty secure because
that sounds tricky. That's the goal, everybody.
Yeah, indeed.
33 trillion years.
Yeah, 53 trillion years. So that's the forever fun world of cybersecurity.
Yikes.
Yeah. Fun and games going on in the world of big tech. So big tech have been in the news, but when I say big tech, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, you name it.
Yep.
They've been in the news lately because they've been forcing everyone to come back to work in person.
So mean.
Which is and there are positives and negatives around that. I've been reading an awful lot, and I know lots of people who work in these big tech companies, and since the pandemic, everyone was working remotely, working from home, and after the pandemic, some companies saw lots of value in the improvement in employee mental health by giving them a flexibility and the hybrid working opportunities of come to the office if you want, work from home if you want. It's all about productivity. But a lot of big tech companies in the last month really have been putting in some mandates to you must come back to work, some 5 days a week. And It's interesting. I was reading an article that said Apple have been pushing a lot of their employees to come back to work, and they said they didn't build the fancy spaceship headquarters in Cupertino for it to be empty. And
Well, I didn't build it.
yeah, but then it's a real sticking point for some employees, because I know people who have been able to move to other parts of the country
Yeah.
because they could suddenly do their job from home, and now they're being told they must come back either 1 or 2 days a week, which would result in hundreds of miles of
Mhm.
of travel for
And
the
even
day.
cost of living, right? Doing, like,
Exactly
Silicon
that.
Valley
Like,
and
we won't get into the cost of living in London, which
yeah,
is just crazy.
yeah,
But exactly that, where big tech companies have got headquarters, be they in London or New York or somewhere else in the world,
yeah.
right? Big cities are expensive places to live in, and so employees suddenly found that, wow, I can do my job from home, and home can be wherever the Wi-Fi is, right? And
Mhm.
so
Exactly.
uh, the Wi-Fi is a lot cheaper somewhere else in the country.
Family flexibility, like, it goes on and on. And I think the interesting thing is too, because we're kind of living a little bit of that here, where not me, but my husband was working online, working from home, and it seems like before, meetings and a lot of that were in person, and then through the pandemic, all of our meetings were virtual, and now so many meetings are virtual just for the flexibility of it, but people are mandated in office for their virtual meetings. So that's the interesting part for me.
And the irony of big tech calling their employees back is,
Yeah.
this is you're talking companies like Google and Microsoft, who have
Totally capable.
Meet and Teams and
Yeah.
Zoom, Salesforce, who bought Slack for $22 billion, right? They bought a communications platform for
Yeah.
$22 billion, and now are calling their employees back in the office for them to then use that communications tool
At
to
their
talk to message the person who's sitting
Yeah.
in front of them. Like, have
I don't
some faith in your products, guys, right? And have some
exactly.
faith
And
in
your
your
people.
employees, right? Like, people are professionals, right? Yes, you will have people who
Of course.
will, that happens everywhere, but then you call them back to the office and they're not feeling up to it. There's nothing stopping them from loitering around, having a chat, gossiping. Like,
Calling in sick.
productivity loss will happen wherever you fester it to happen, and
Yeah.
forcing people to do things that are not, you're going to end up losing good people.
I agree.
And it calls into question an awful lot of things around, what's going on. I get you've got
Yeah.
big fancy offices and things like that, and you want people in those offices, but I think flexibility is key. And in education, we're not always so fortunate where we have to be in the building, and we don't have that flexibility. But I speak to so many people who work outside of education, and then you see their outlook on life now is completely different. Being
It's
able to, oh, guess what? I've got an important Amazon delivery coming, and I can't miss it, right? But I don't have to worry about it because I'm working from home and I'm
Yeah.
able to do my work. And how much productivity is lost in the 30 seconds it takes to answer your door so you don't miss your parcel, right? Or my boiler is broken and I need an engineer. Guess what? I've let him in. Go do what you need to do. I can
Yeah.
still work. You're not losing product. If anything, you're gaining productivity because you're
I would
able
say
to.
so.
And yeah, I experienced this during the pandemic when I was working from home. As soon as it hit 4:30 and it was end of the day, well, we weren't exactly going anywhere, were we? If anything, we gave our employers a hell of a lot more time than we were actually being paid for,
It's something
right?
to do.
If you give people, if you let people thrive, they will automatically go the extra mile for you.
Yeah.
And I don't see why companies feel that they need to sort of impose onto people.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, and you see, like, we saw it during the pandemic with schools. There were absolutely some kids who struggled, and that was difficult and things like that. But there were some kids who really thrived in that environment too. To have the time to get up early, do their work, do their things. They were super productive. They were more creative in some instances. And then they had the rest of the day to explore their own interests. And so, again, it's not an everybody thing, but it's also not an everybody thing in terms of working in the office, right? So it's just that people are different and they have different preferences and they work better or more productive at certain hours of the day than others. So I don't think there's this, like, I think we've discovered that there's not like a one size fits all box. And instead, like you said, valuing the people who work for you, valuing the productivity side of it. If you can just sort of release a little bit of that mandate, then people are going to thrive because they're going to find something that works well for them, a routine that works well for them.
And, you know, in 2024, everyone is a lot more mindful of their well-being and, you know, what really matters in life, right? And we both love controversy on EdTech AM, and I'm going to get controversial about all things EdTech, right? And schools. And this is something that we have talked about. Like, I know it's different for you living in Canada, Megan, where you are used to sub-zero temperatures of crazy level, right? In the UK, we are not ready for that. Like, the minute we have the tiniest patch of ice on our pavements, London shuts down, right?
Yeah.
And pre-pandemic, and I can't believe I'm saying this as the digital champion, right? But pre-pandemic, when digital wasn't really happening at the level it is now in schools, right? As soon as you had a little bit of snow on the ground, we had snow days and business shut down for the day. School shut down, everything shut down. And what happened? People went out and enjoyed the snow, right? Yeah. We don't get snow in London that often. When it happens, it's something nice, right? I haven't seen snow in London for years, right? And I want it to snow because it's nice to experience that with your family, right?
It's fun.
But now we gone remote learning, remote working, right? And it's the snow days have gone a thing. And you know, ultimately, there's lots of data and argument around, and right, really getting controversial here and bringing in the O word, which is not popular in the UK, which is Ofsted, right? And they have just announced that they are now going to start grading schools based on attendance. I don't know how that's going to work. Obviously, it's gone down like it's gone down worse than a lead balloon, right? And all of that stuff. But there's the argument now, right? If you have to close school for one day for a snow day, like, how much are you really losing in terms of education and stuff like that?
Right. And like, what matters? Okay. So I say this all the time. And this was something that I had to learn too. So when I was teaching 6th grade, it's like you can get really caught up in all of the things you have to do and all of the learning outcomes and all of those check boxes that you have to hit. But at the end of the day, does their childhood, does their enjoyment of school, does their like having fun, that matters more. And again, that might be controversial too. But they, like, who cares? I don't know. I get so like, I will die on this hill. At the end of the day, we're going to learn to read. We're going to learn to write. We're going to be productive adults. What is the rush?
Yeah.
Let's enjoy. Let's just live.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to consider, especially where in the UK we've got this really big thing about how our schools are mental health champions and all of that stuff. And I see, like, you know, the irony is, like, what an awful lot of schools in the UK doing about mental health. Guess what? We get a well-being day. Guess what that is? It's a day off.
Yeah.
Right? You're giving your employees a day off. Why are you not giving the students a day off?
Give them a day off.
Suddenly it happens, right? I don't think there's absolutely, we can do remote learning all year round, do the homework online, do extracurricular activities online, all of that stuff.
Great.
There's no need to suddenly, oh, by the way, we've had to emergency close. Give people the day off, an extra well-being day, right?
Yeah.
Like, God forbid.
Who knows what they might get up to? Maybe they'll learn something new on their own because that's what humans do. Exactly. They learn. They don't, like, you know what I mean? It's not like learning stops outside of school.
And ultimately, with remote learning, right, the children are not there in front of you. If they're not going to do the work, they're not going to do the work.
No.
Sure, you're going to address that afterwards when they come back to school through behavior procedures and all of that. But you've lost that day anyway.
Yep.
Right. So those who are going to learn are going to learn. Those who aren't going to learn aren't going to learn. So there's no change there. Right.
Exactly.
So ultimately, I think it has to start from early years all the way up to, retirement, that there has to be this understanding of you treat your people well and people will give back for the sake of it, right?
Exactly.
Because you want to return kind behavior with kind behavior.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I'd like to think the majority of the world thinks that way.
So
you could argue, given recent without trying to get too political, in recent happenings in the world, that it's not always like that. But who knows? Positivity. Let's keep up the positivity.
Agreed.
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well, let's end on another interesting note, and without trying to bring back Apple, but we are going to bring back Apple. Some interesting news that happened lately. Apple acquired Pixelmator. For those of you who don't know, Pixelmator is an image editing app that is available on Apple platforms. I don't know if it's available on Android. I haven't checked, but Apple have purchased Pixelmator, which is a really interesting move, and it feels like Apple is trying to move into a certain market that is dominated by another company using the letter A. And I think that the graphic design market is going to get very interesting very soon.
I was just going to say, it will be interesting to see how the different companies kind of diversify their products as far as like their features and that what this one can do, what this one can do. It will be interesting to see that.
I mean, yeah, Apple took an awful lot of time to get into the AI, into the AI game, and there was an awful lot of tech websites that were talking about, why are Apple lagging behind with this? But they've come in quite hard, right? Whether or not everyone is going to use Apple Intelligence to the level that Apple would like people to use it, who knows? But ultimately, with the release of Apple Intelligence, they have put AI directly into the hands of an awful lot of people. Who will, for whatever reason, make use of these tools. There's an awful lot of capacity here with what they can do with the likes of Pixelmator. Will they still keep it as a standalone app? Will they start to integrate it into their existing platforms? Will they make it free? Who knows?
That's an interesting point, actually. Yeah.
The Creative Cloud and the Photoshop suite, or the Creative Cloud suite of tools, costs an awful lot of money.
It does.
And there's been an awful lot of controversy around it lately with their move into AI and some of their change in terms and conditions that we talked about in our previous episode. But you give someone something for free, which Creative Cloud certainly is not, and suddenly people have another avenue to, the graphic design market may be very niche, and the people who want to use those products will still keep using those products. But for everyday Joe who just wants to edit their photos, there are plenty of things out there now which cost a significant amount less or free and are more accessible. And it's interesting. It's interesting times coming ahead.
I know. I was going to say that, like, you were saying, like, creatives who like to use Creative Cloud and Photoshop and all that, maybe they will keep using it. But as far as like an easy entry point for new users, people who maybe don't have that skill set but are looking to grow it, it's a lot more accessible to access one of these other tools and a lot less expensive, especially if you're just dabbling. It's really interesting.
So yes, the graphic design market is about to get very, very interesting.
Oh, we're going to have so much news to talk about.
Yeah, who knows what's coming next in that sense of it.
Stay tuned for episode 4.
Yes, indeed. And on that note, we will be back soon for episode 4. But it's been great to be back.
I
Megan,
know.
after a mini unexpected break.
A little, we had a busy break.
Yes, busy
Some of us
break.
couldn't speak, so there was that too.
Yeah,
Not-
and hopefully no more breaks. No more breaks due to illness. Hopefully.
No more illness breaks. That's enough. Get back to work, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Mandate.
In the office. Go back to the office.
In the office.
None of this working from home business. No one works from home.
That would be impossible for us. Where would we meet? The middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I think.
Indeed. I'm sure there's some island/oil rig or something like that.
It's ours now.
But yes, thank you, Louise. Like and subscribe.
Yes.
Please do follow us. Follow us on our socials. We are on I will not call it the one-letter word. We are on Twitter.
We're on Twitter.
I'm Abid_Patel and Meagan Alfano. And we are on all of the other socials as well, everywhere. Please do visit our website, edtecham.org, where we will put the show notes up very soon, and you can watch all of our previous episodes. And we will see you all soon.
Yes. See you next month. Share with your friends.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye.